I was gone in the zone. As I enter, I was gone in the zone. As I enter, I was gone in the zone. As I enter. I feel like I'm legit with man. I found a time to kick around. This one for the player pinch, for the nickel and a dime. Any place that you can find, I bet I get out on that grind. As you enter in the player's mind, watch your step, music clap. Do not stumble on the stress. I confess, I collect memories that I reflect. Yes, you know you best, know the things that you possess, but they treat you like a failure till the day you see success.
Don't forget your time is here. Get it in, it's gonna make you strong. Get mine. Elevate day to day, cause it never stops. Keep going with time. This time.
Who's got it, did he make him? Why the devil be hating? I'm getting tuned in. I'm not no Freemason. I'm just a nigga trying to free Jason from slaving over a stove. Cooking up an occupation. The proclamation wasn't made for no nigga. So fuck color. It's about money, my little brother. And power. The truth stands taller than any tower. So if the world's mine, then it's ours. Come on.
Don't forget, your time is here. Get it in, it's gonna make you strong. Get mine. Elevate day to day, cause it never stops. Keep going.
Yeah.
With time.
Alright.
This time.
Sometimes I be tripping cause I be on a mission. You look in my eyes, but you don't see my vision. So pardon my drive, excuse my ambition. Just wanna live that life that the wealthy are living. My project building, feeling like a prison. My head spinning like the fan on the ceiling. I need a break. Can you relate? Somebody take me to a place where I can elevate.
Don't forget, your time is here. Get it in, it's gonna make you strong. Get mine. Elevate day to day, cause it never stops. Keep going with time. This time.
But as a kid, you make you stronger, you know the phrase. And we done came a long way, but we okay. You got some people that you love and you hope to stay. You get to thinking about the past like those were the days. You get to missing what you lost cause it's not around. Don't look what you ain't got now, come and get you down. Life is too short like an open rap, but we gotta close the chapter. Life is funny, so let go some laughter.
Don't forget, your time is here. Get it in, it's gonna make you strong. Get mine. Elevate day to day, cause it never stops. Keep going with time. This 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 time.
Yeah, this gonna be the all the time on the ground. Turn that slow, let me say all the time. I was gone in the zone. As I gone in the zone. As I enter, I was gone in the zone. As I enter, I was gone in the zone. As I enter, I was gone in the zone. As I enter, I feel like
We are live. All right. Had to get that out of my system. All right. So we had a good couple of days of boxing here. And we can just sit up here and chop it up a little bit about what we saw on Friday night. And let's also talk about the upcoming different fights on different rosters, different people, and people you think that they should potentially fight. Like a fantasy matchup for the end of this year or fantasy matchups for the beginning of 2025. Um, so I want to kind of fall back and talk about what's been trending and so controversial ever since Friday night with Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. I know everybody doesn't seem or not going to see eye to eye because I've been getting different comments, and that's what makes boxing great because none of us agree on the same topic all the time. But for me, I felt like Serrano won that fight. Was it close? Yes. So I'm not going to sit up here and say it was a far stretch and that Serrano won by a country mile. It was a very, very tight fight. Don't get me wrong. But when you look at all the small little fine lining and details, I can't see how you can give the fight a unanimous decision to Katie Taylor. Because first off, as Serrano was saying, she threw like 107 punches, 107 total punches more throughout the fight than Katie Taylor. Not only that, Katie Taylor was warned a few times for the headbutts, and eventually she got a point deducted for headbutts. So you factor that in as well. So how does a person land 107 punches more than you, then that opponent gets a point deducted? So you're showing you're the busier fighter by throwing 107 more punches being landed. Then you're the aggressor. You're using effective aggressiveness. So you're on the front foot. You're putting pressure on Katie Taylor. She's backing up. She's going up against the ropes. So how do you come up short and lose? I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. So maybe there's some judges out here that are watching this live stream. And if you are a judge or you're close to a judge, maybe you can make me understand the criteria on how they judge a fight. Because how do you come out with a decision and you give it to Katie Taylor again when I don't even feel that she won the first fight. But definitely this fight that I recently saw, it looked like Serrano won. So to people who are saying Katie Taylor deserved the win, state your case in the chat room. And for all those riding with me who said Serrano won, in the chat room, explain what's going on here. I mean, some people are calling it a robbery. I'm not going to take it, like I said, that far because a robbery to me has to be a fight where it's like a huge margin, like Serrano won by, for instance, there's 10 round. It's a 10-round fight. So if Katie Taylor only won 3 of 10 rounds, then it would have been a robbery to say Serrano won 7 rounds and they gave it to Katie Taylor who won 3 rounds. That's a robbery. But this was more to me like a 6-4. I would have gave Serrano 6 rounds, and I would have gave Taylor 4 rounds. And like I said, you're factoring the fact that she had a point deducted as well. I just don't see how you come up with giving a decision to Taylor. I take it as, in my opinion, that it seems for some reason that Katie Taylor has, certain people that are like, she's like, got them wrapped around her finger, kind of like she's kind of like there's certain fighters that seem like they always get the nod in a decision, kind of like they're like that person. They're like they're like the face of boxing to an extent, so they're not gonna let them lose. Kind of, if it's a close fight, they're gonna always be the one to win. And it seems like she kind of gets that type of love and that type of favor, if you ask me, in my opinion. And I'm not the only one that's saying this. There's a few other podcasts and a few other people that just feel like, what more does Serrano have to do to secure a win? I mean, the only other thing she could have done is stopped her or knocked her out. Um, and in the first round, we did see towards the end where she had Taylor hurt when she caught her with that left hand and knocked her up against the ropes. But Taylor does have good recovery, so she was able to kind of shrug it off, bounce back, get herself together, and got back into the fight. You know what I'm saying? Nonetheless, it was a good fight. So I'm not arguing over that because some people keep saying, "Well, it was a good fight." Yeah, it was a good fight, but I'm just looking at the fact of the matter on why is it Serrano came up short. Not only that, that big gash from the headbutt or whatever, she fought through that. You know what I'm saying? She fought that with blood all on her face and to me fought her heart out just to come up short. That has to be a big letdown for Serrano. And then people are talking about a trilogy, but is a trilogy necessary now when you've got the short end of the stick 2 times? Do you feel that if she fought a third time, they're going to ever give her a decision? You know what I'm saying? I feel like they fight a third time, they're going to give the win to Taylor again. I just don't see what Serrano could do or any more that she could have done to win the fight. So that's pretty much my whole thinking on that. Hey, cuz, what's going on? Hey, Mike, what's going on? You said Katie T closer in fight one, but this one was a 3-round loss. 6-4 plus the point off is the correct score. Okay, that's what's up, Michael. And thanks for tuning in. Appreciate y'all being here today. So that was a good fight for sure. So now what was going on is Clarissa Shields. I don't know if she got hit up by somebody, but she's in a higher weight division, and people were asking her would she fight Katie Taylor, but she was saying, I don't know if she was joking or serious, but she said for maybe $6 million, and she would have to lose quite a bit of weight to get down to that size to fight Katie Taylor. But she said a smaller fighter would be Alicia Baumgartner, repping Detroit, Michigan, by way of Ohio. Alicia Baumgartner and Katie Taylor, to me, would be a very, very good fight, and it would do pretty good. Katie Taylor is well known in respects to her, because we did hear at the post conference Eddie Hearn kind of talk about Katie Taylor and how she put women's boxing on the map for Ireland, that they didn't want women boxing, and she had to fight really, really hard to get women's boxing in Ireland. So with all her effort and everything, I do salute her for putting women boxing on the map for the Irish women over there. But that still doesn't waver my opinion that Serrano won that fight. All right, moving on. the Barrios and versus Ramos fight was another intriguing fight. To me, it was probably the second best fight of the night. Um, Barrios looking very, very acute, very, very sharp with his pinpoint accuracy punches. His jab was very accurate. Um, his left hand jab, his right hand. He was very, very methodical. He had a lot of bounce in his legs in the first couple of rounds. He was circling and moving very, very fluid. His fluidity was very, very good. And he was able to keep Ramos on the end of a jab, which you should do when you're a taller fighter. Taller fighters should use that jab and execute it very, very well to maintain the distance. Um, so he did very, very good all the way up into round 5. Then, as I'm talking with my homeboy JC here, I'm like, man, for Ramos to have any chance in this fight, he has to turn up around the 6th round because he's gonna let so many rounds go that now he has to do something drastic in order to have any chance to win this on the scorecard, whether he stops him or whether he just wins from round 6 on out to round 12. And boom, what happened? Round 6, Ramos kind of turns up. He catches Barrios with a right hand that stunned him, and then he threw a second right hand and was able to drop Mario Barrios. And that started to change the momentum, and it was changing the trajectory of the fight. Ramos did what he had to do, and full steam ahead. Round 7 was a pretty close round for both guys, back and forth. And he had success in the later rounds, Ramos, but Barrios was able to do enough to keep him at bay and then gather himself. The few times he got hurt, he was able to gather himself and get his mental clarity back in focus. And he the fight ended up going to the last round. I'm trying to remember, was it a 10 round or was it a 12 round? But it went to the final round, and it ended up being a split decision draw. It was a split decision draw. So, in other words, it wasn't a loss for Ramos, and it wasn't a loss for Barrios. It was neutral. So chances are they'll run that fight back because they're going to want to see if they have a rematch. Who's the better man or whatever. If a rematch does happen, what would be your prediction? Mario Barrios versus Ramos. If they fight a second time, how do you see the fight going? And then we got to the main event of the night, a Friday night. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. So how do we view that? Many people here in the nation of America or just worldwide, a lot of people say they had technical difficulties with Netflix. I, for one, we had an issue with the Netflix here. But from what I saw and when I went back to highlights, because I got up to maybe round 3 and it kept buffering. So then I went back on the YouTube and looked up the highlights. And then I seen something my dude, shout out to Ant Davis. He shared something. And it did kind of look like Mike was kind of holding back. Like he was, when he came in, he would hit Paul, but it didn't seem like it was full-fledged power behind it. But I need to go back and maybe watch it again, um, and really pay real close attention to the smallest things. But that fight, I thought somebody would go down, and it went to it went all 8 rounds, and nobody hit the canvas. Um, Surprisingly, um, but of course, Jake Paul ended up winning a unanimous decision win over Iron Mike Tyson, the legend, and it actually went on the official record of Mike Tyson as a loss, and it went on BoxRec as a win for Jake Paul. Um, so it's a lot of people prior to the fight that were already skeptical, and then after the fight, people are using the term it was a fixed fight. Um, so it's going to be a lot of people who saying it's a fixed fight, and then there's going to be some people saying it wasn't a fixed fight, that it was just an older Mike Tyson that was 58 and somehow made it through 8 rounds. 8 2-minute rounds. That's a lot of work. If you figure a person's 58 years old, myself, I'm pretty much 45 years old. So imagine being the age of 58 to be in that condition to even go 8 rounds. Not only that, think about Mike's past. Even though he might be sober now, but think of all the alcohol and the substance abuse of his past. Then up to recent, he had an ulcer surgery that postponed the first fight. He had an ulcer surgery, and then he said something about. I think he said something about some blood transfusion. So he had a lot of different medical things that he wasn't really talking about all like that prior to this fight happening. Um, all this came out after the fight. So Mike had been through a lot of wear and tear on his body. And then if you saw in the fight, he had a knee brace on his leg. So a 58-year-old man, having been through all he had been through and hasn't had a professional fight in like 19 years, definitely he definitely did good, when you look at it from that standpoint. Um and yeah, I know a lot of people are saying, hey, he got the bag or whatever. He got a hot and quick 20 mil. But hey, when you're a person of his level and you paid your dues, hey man, he deserves that bag. If you ask me, Iron Mike deserves that bag, man. Um, all right. So, what do you think will happen next? Because it's my understanding Joseph Parker, who is somebody I like, a throwback fighter, he's been on the heel of Daniel Dubois. He wants his shot at the belts. He wants the title shot. He feels that he'll fight anybody pretty much. He was on Talk Sports, and he was saying that he, in an interview, he wants all the smoke, whether it's Daniel Dubois, whether it's a rematch with Anthony Joshua, whether Parker is fighting Bacoli, um, anybody in those top rankings or who's considered a quote unquote boogeyman or the most ferocious guy, Joseph Parker is not tucking his tail at all. He does no tucking his tail, and I respect him. He's trying to fight the best of the best. And he makes boxing interesting because he's not cherry picking. So, Joseph Parker, big shout outs to you, man. Keep doing what you do, man. Keep making boxing great. Keep making boxing great, my brother. So shout outs to New Zealand and Joseph Parker. Martin Bacoli, recent situation. Martin Bacoli was lined up to fight uh, Ajit Kabayel. Kabayel didn't really give a reason, but he pulled out of their fight. So a lot of people were going around saying that Caballero ducked Martin Bacoli. Um, so what is your opinion? Did Caballero duck? And if you know more about what's going on in that situation, is there a reason for why Caballero pulled out from Martin Bacoli, or is it that you thought he just thought about it again, like, I don't know, this guy is dangerous, and I don't think I want to step in that fire with this guy. You know what I'm saying? Or was it a legit reason on why he's not fighting uh, Martin Bacoli? Also, speaking of Martin Bacoli, I believe I saw something that I had shared that Martin Bacoli will be fighting Zilly Zhang next. And let me tell you, if these two guys lock horns, it's going to be a fight that I definitely can't miss. And it's going to be a treat for any boxing lover out here. Think about that, y'all. Martin Bacoli and Zilly Zhang. Two guys with massive power, two big, colossal guys with a lot of power. Zilly Zhang, a southpaw out of Asia, and Martin Bacoli out of the Congo, Africa, would be a fight to see. I sure hope that fight happens, because who would win is like, it's so much of a 50-50 type fight, man, because they both bring what they bring to the best of their ability. Like Martin Bacoli's going to put on that calculated pressure. He's going to keep coming towards you. He's going to be throwing his combos, his uppercuts, his hooks, his haymakers. He's going to kind of try to get you backing up. But Zilly Zhang, who may be slightly bigger than Bacoli, I don't know if he's like an inch taller, but he has a lot of power. And he's a southpaw. He's not one who's going to back up in most cases. But with Bacoli, the question would be, can Bacoli back up Zilly Zhang? Or will Bacoli be getting backed up by Zilly Zhang? You know, how will it go? Who's going to be the aggressor majority of that fight, in your opinion? Zilly Zhang versus Martin Bacoli. What would be your prediction in that fight? Well, let's think of their highest points and their lowest points. All right, so if we take the low point of Bacoli, he had a dislocated shoulder, I guess, when he fought Michael Hunter years ago, and he ended up losing that fight. I believe that was a decision loss. But here recently, he fought the young, up and coming, representing Toledo, Ohio, Jared Anderson. And Bacoli went in there to seek and destroy, and he got Jared Anderson up out of there. Zilly Zhang, his lowest might have been the time recently where he fought Joseph Parker. He was able to drop Parker twice, but other than dropping Parker twice, he started gassing out, later rounds of the fight. And as he's gassing out, the momentum shift started to happen. Parker's getting stronger, and Parker senses that Zilly Zhang was getting tired. So he started going up in gear, and Parker was able to beat Zilly Zhang. He was able to get the victory in that fight or whatnot. But then Zilly Zhang had a war with Philip Herkovic. They had a war that could have went either way. The fight was given to Herkovic, but it's one of those type of fights where it's very, very close, kind of like Serrano and Katie Taylor, or like Beterbiev versus Bivol, a very, very tight margin. But anyway, Zilly Zhang came up short versus Herkovic. But prior to his fight with Joseph Parker, Zilly Zhang did fight Joe Joyce twice. And Joe Joyce was one to where people felt he had a granite chin, which he did. He had a very good chin. He fought hard punchers like Daniel Dubois, and he fought Joseph Parker, and he was able to take their punches, Carlos Takam, take their punches, and somehow keep coming forward. And he had very leaky and terrible defense, but he was able to take those chin punches and still come forward. Well, I think he relied on his chin too much, and that became his downfall. Because when he fought Big Bang Zhang in the first fight, he got beat. And in the second fight, he got put to sleep really, really bad. He was knocked out very, very crucial in the rematch by Big Bang Zhang. So we take into account Zhang's probably his best recent knockout is his knockout win over Joe Joyce, and Bakoli's best knockout is over Jared Anderson. So it's kind of one of those situations where if I have to give the win, it's going to be a KO with these guys. I don't see it going the distance. My heart says Zilly Zhang a whole lot. That Zilly Zhang will stop Bakoli late rounds. Well, actually, no. Let me take that back. Zilly Zhang would need to get Bakoli out in the early rounds. And if he fails to do so, Bakoli would do better in the later rounds. So actually, yeah, if Zhang can get Bakoli out by the fifth or sixth round, he would win by stoppage or knockout. But if it goes past 6 rounds, Bakoli's going to stop Zilly Zhang late, possibly knock him out, or the ref will step in and wave it off. So that's an interesting fight, man. That's a very, very intriguing, interesting fight. Two giants. What else is going on? Tank Davis. I still need to do more research. I don't know if anybody else has who's a Tank fan. So Navid David or Robert Elmore, if you guys are out there watching, what's going on with Tank? Matthew Brown, what's the latest, bro? I'm trying to see if the Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach Jr. fight, if it's not going to happen, is there a replacement for Lamont Roach Jr.? And if there's no replacement, then what's going on with Tank Davis? Because what he doesn't want to do is be sitting around and getting ring rust. You know, he's not getting younger, he's getting older. So he needs to be fighting a lot more to keep himself, you know, like keep his keep everything running on all cylinders, so to speak. Like a well-oiled machine, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to let something sit there and rust. You want to make sure you keep it oiled, keep it manicured, keep it clean, stuff like that. And I see Tank Davis just kind of like sitting around trying to get an opponent or whatever. Um, Now, hopefully, back in the mix, we get Earl the Truth Spence. Um, some people don't want to see him against Fundora for whatever reasons. I don't see why not. We did see Fundora a while back. Uh, did a demolition job when he fought Erickson Lubin. When he fought Erickson Lubin, um, Fundora really did him bad. Um, so, question is, after a knockout, well, stoppage loss from Bud Crawford, will Errol Spence will he be the same? When you factor in the fact he was in a real bad car accident where the car started flipping and he was ejected from the car. Will Errol Spence ever be that guy again? With all the things he had to go through physically and mentally after that car wreck, and then to be dispatched of badly by Terrence Bud Crawford in their fight. Will he look okay going against somebody like Fundora? It's definitely a intriguing matchup when you think of the fact that Spence is a southpaw. He likes to work the body. Um, he's a very good fighter. He only has one loss, and the loss that he does have is by the pound for pound best, Terrence Bud Crawford. So Fundora uh, just won his last match. So it'll be a very, very good matchup to see Spence fight such a tall, linkier fighter, a person with a lot more reach, a person with a decent jab, and how will what type of adjustments will Spence make fighting someone of that magnitude. Um, David Benavidez, aka the Mexican Monster, another guy that stays pretty high on my radar. I really like that guy, David Benavidez. I watch him in plenty of interviews. Uh, his interview with Steven Jackson. I seen him work out with Roy Jones, Roy Jones Jr., the legend, and David Benavidez. I seen them do little workouts together. Um, and I like the fact that, like your Mike Tyson and like certain humble fighters, David Benavidez, he respects the ones that came before him. You have some guys in the era of now, they don't like to give credit to the OGs or the elders of boxing. But David Benavidez is very much that guy who respects Roy Jones a whole lot. He respects a few other fighters. He likes Mike Tyson a lot as well. But he let it be known that I've been a fan of Roy Jones, and Roy Jones was able to show him a couple of key tricks in boxing, and with somebody as tall as David Benavidez, he shows a lot of adaptability um, in his form and in his style of boxing. Like he kind of has his own style, but he also can kind of build around his style that kind of makes him even better. So that's why I really want to see, and I hope that we do get to see eventually at 175 pound, the light heavyweight division, to see the Canelo versus David Benavidez. I will probably mention this in every live or every YouTube video I do, only because I'm campaigning and really, really, really hoping in anticipation that that fight happens. That's the fight that Mike Tyson wants to see. It's the fight that Floyd Mayweather wants to see. It's the fight that the casuals who don't even really watch boxing, they would like David Benavidez versus Canelo. And if you're a true boxing purist, you want to see David Benavidez versus Canelo Alvarez. That's what we want to see, folks. That's what we want to see, folks. So I guess the question is, and what hangs in the balance is, will we get that? Will we get to see that? But in the same aspect, it's like this. If we don't see Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez, will it be David Benavidez versus Beterbiev? Or David Benavidez versus Dimitri Bivol? If Bivol and Beterbiev don't have an immediate rematch. Because I can't be for sure that they had a clause saying that they must fight again in an immediate rematch after their close contested fight not long ago. So it's so many different scenarios and different fights that could happen when you're taking 3 or 4 opponents and they all kind of fight each other. There's so many different tiers and different matches that can happen with those guys, and it all makes for the love of the sport. The sport, as Kurt DeVille said, the sport that I love and I hate. And the meaning in that is that you love the sport of boxing itself, the what a fighter has to do just to prepare for a fight is very interesting. The training camps, the way they have to eat, and all the things that go into the making of a fighter is very, very interesting. When you do your, if you go back and look at the camps and look at the videos and look how they move through the ranks and how they start, that's very, very intriguing in boxing. Now, the part that most of us don't like, and reason why we say we love that we hate as well, is that some of the decisions of the fights, some of the outcomes are rather sketchy at times. So you're like, man, I don't see how this happened this way, But ultimately, I can say with boxing, the pros and cons of boxing, I would say that the pros outweigh the cons. You know what I'm saying? That's like with anything in life. You're going to have a good and a bad. So I think that the good outweighs the bad when it comes to the sport of boxing. All right, so we covered quite a bit. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Also, let me just say, shout out to everybody here in the city of Cincinnati, Ohio, that are doing their thing, Shout out to my cousin Virgo, the livest tattoo artist in Cincinnati. Shout out to Rob Doach, one of the best fire food trucks in Cincinnati. Very, very, very top notch food if you get something from Folks in Motion. and you have to follow him on Facebook because he moves around. He usually is on Hamilton Avenue, but he moves around. So if you're in Cincinnati or the local area, check out Folks in Motion. And if you need a tattoo, holla at Virgo, King Damien. All right. Hey, Adam, what's good? So you said that was a straight highway robbery. Oh wow. So you said now who was saying their legacy meant nothing to them, Adam? You talking about Mike? Well, I mean, that's not beyond Mike to say something outlandish because we all know Mike don't have them all. Just like when you seen the interview with the young girl that tried to interview Mike. Mike is just who he is. Mike is Mike. That's the best way to explain Mike. He has his highs, he has his lows, and he probably needs to take his meds or whatever. But hey, you know how Mike is. He can go from 0 to 100 real fast, real fast. That's Michael G. Tyson. DD, thank you, Cuzzo. Thanks for the love and stopping through. Thank you so very much. Scoob, what's up, Cuzzo? What's going on, man? Appreciate you always showing support uh pretty much every week, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for the encouragement and the motivation. Yeah, man. So we gotta see what awaits us in boxing because Turkey Alashake, from what I can see, he's here to stay, and he's going to keep bringing these mega showdowns in boxing. So we're gonna keep getting the fights we want to see. Facts, Cuzzo. Uh, facts. Mike is the truth, Cuzzo. I respect it too. What's going on, Cuzzo? Back at you, Scoob. Yeah, man. We're gonna have to link up and watch these matches, man, here soon, man, and watch another match together, man. Um, so I'm trying to think who else in the mix of boxing we can discuss right now. Um, Deontay Wilder, he has, well, at least his trainer has said he's not going to retire. So we haven't really heard, or I haven't heard of an opponent yet. But hopefully, in the next couple weeks, we get an announcement between now and next month. We'll know who Deontay Wilder chooses to fight next. Um, Coming off a knockout loss from Zhang, I think Wilder should take a not like a C level fighter, but not somebody on the level of Zilly Zhang. Um, I wouldn't mind seeing Wilder versus Joe Joyce. If Joe Joyce is still going to continue boxing and be active, I wouldn't mind seeing Wilder versus Joe Joyce, or AJ versus Wilder, or AJ versus Joe Joyce. Any of them would make sense, and any of those would be a good clash. You know, once again, you got all these guys now that are 6'5" and 6'6" and 6'7", and then Fury 6'9". You got all these giants in the boxing game right now, and man, it be going down in the heavyweight division. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Scoop. Yes, sir. Yep. All right, Adam. You say I love Tyson, but that was not a fight. That was planned. And you say you were just saying he's worried about the loss prior. That's not like Mike. That glove holding punches. That's a simple tell. Yeah, man. And my cousin and I did like a post review after the fight Friday night, and we kind of talked about that, where we just kind of didn't really hold back our opinions on that situation. That they felt like, hey, it was entertainment, but they kind of felt like you know we didn't see the Mike Tyson that we actually know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah, I hear you, man. All right. So I'm seeing circulating as well that Dillian White of UK by way of Jamaica, that Dillian the Body Snatcher White, he will be coming back to boxing after his controversial situation with performance enhancing drugs. Uh, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was cleared of any wrongdoings. Of course, though, when you get caught up in a somewhat of a scandal dealing with performance enhancing drugs or steroids, that leaves a bad taste in many people's mouth. Because even if you were cleared, in the back of their minds, people think you can't be trusted, so they're going to keep a close eye on you and think that you're a cheat or whatever. But Dillian White will uh, be back in the ring soon. I'm not too privy on his opponent, but he will be fighting here soon. So I'm pretty sure it'd be like a tune up fight, just to kind of see, because he hasn't fought in a while because of all the stuff he's been going through ever since the situation with Anthony Joshua. They didn't get a chance to fight each other because when it was right before their fight happened, that's when he got caught up in the PED accusations. So, what do y'all think about Dillian White? And do you think he will turn up like he always does in his fights? He's a very much a he's not really a skillful fighter, so skills kind of go out the door. But with Dillian White, he just comes in there to bang it out and to duke it out and to brawl it out, kind of like a street fighter mentality. Dillian White stands toe to toe. He gets in a phone booth and he's ready to lock horns with whoever. And he's not trying to do a lot of fancy footwork or backing up to the ropes. He's in there. He's in there trying to take his opponent's head off. That's Dillian. That's Dillian, the body snatcher White's his forte. Hey, my brother. What's up, my good brother, the boxing source? What's going on, bro? Much respect to you, man. Much respect. For those who are true boxing fans, boxing purists, check out my homeboy, the boxing source. He just commented below. Very good station, and he shows me a lot of love, and I show him the same love back. So he's a real one. Thanks for tuning in, bro. I appreciate it. Shout outs to the boxing source. All right, you say Adam, all the openings he passed on, you don't lose that ability to pick people apart. Jake dropped his hands. The straight punches left him wide open. Facts right there, man. Facts right there. Um, yeah, man. It's one of them things, man. You know, we all have our discrepancies, or we all kind of have our. Um, I think we're kind of salty. Some people are salty about it, but I mean, I guess at the end of the day, the fight has came and gone, and Mike Tyson is $20 million richer, and Jake Paul is $40 million richer, and Jake Paul is going to continue on with his career, and he's going to keep doing what he's doing. But hopefully, they start putting or making it a point that Jake Paul can't keep fighting these retired boxers or MMA guys. He has to actually start fighting people in the rankings of boxing. You know, so if he fought somebody like Tommy Fury and he lost to him, he needs to fight somebody on the level of Tommy Fury that's close in age and see how he does there. No more cakewalks for Jake Paul. You know, if he had like 11 fights, 12 fights, match him up with an opponent who had 12 fights. You know, match up Jake Paul with somebody who aligns on the same level of talent in boxing as him. But stop feeding him these older guys and these MMA guys. Yeah. So um yeah, so with boxing, man, it's just one of them things that I really enjoy watching. And like I said, I've been a fan since of boxing since 1988. And I have to credit that to my pops on why I like boxing so much, and my late uncle William Price, on why I love boxing so much. My dad taking me over there to see Mike Tyson versus Michael Spinks. back in 1988 is the reason why to this day I am passionate about boxing. Also, in the description in the comment section description areas of YouTube, um, there's a link down there, my link tree, and also if you're interested in any merch like the hats, the shirts, um, you can go in the description area to the link, and you'll go straight into the store. And they do ship internationally, so anywhere you are, they will get your merchandise to you. Hey, bro, about how long we been in? Oh, okay, cool, cool. All right. But I do believe what we're going to have is that now that Jake Paul is trying to make a name for himself, that a lot of boxers that are still somewhat young and they haven't been retired very long, they're going to probably come back out of retirement. You know, you got people like Andre Ward, um, Tony Bellew, a few fighters that only been retired a couple years, and they're still in decent shape to come back. They may come back and fight Jake Paul. I wouldn't put it past them. Um, Andre Ward was a beast in his day, and Tony Bellew was nice, you know, in the cruiserweight division. And if you haven't seen the fight with Bellew, look up his fight. I think one of his last fights was against Usyk, where he gets knocked out by Usyk. But Bellew was very, very much a formidable opponent, and he had a decent style in that boxing ring. So shout outs to Tony Bellew, and also shout outs to Andre SOG Ward. Nobody try to buzz in on the other aspect. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you taking your time to share your Sunday evening with me once again. And we'll be back here next Sunday, same place, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, U.S. So make sure you tell somebody else who you know loves boxing to hit subscribe, because we're really going up in our numbers, and it's all because of you guys. So just take a second, share a post, share a link via text, via email, whatever, and it really goes to a great cause to help this channel grow. So right before I go, let me say this: hit the like button on here. So if you're in the chat room, please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Um, and like I said, tell a friend or two to subscribe to the channel. And we're going to bring you good content every week. We're going to be having guests here in the next few weeks. Um, I got one or two special guests, hopefully, that'll be on. One is a Zone 15 legend out of Lincoln Heights, and I want to get him on here because he has a lot of kids that are up and coming boxers. So I would love to get him on the show. It's something that me and him have talked about. So um, hopefully, in the next couple weeks, I'll be introducing you to him. So just stay tuned. Stay tuned to Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. And as always, I appreciate, like I said, your time, and you're here kicking it and chopping it up with me. So I will catch you on the next round.